everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here in Middlebury, Indiana today on the Jayco campus where I got a chance to put my hands on a bunch of new Jay Feathers and White Hawks, and today we're going to kick it off with the 199 MBS. And this camper right here is 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack, because if what you're looking for is like maximum family like sleeping capacity, but you maybe don't have a big giant vehicle, that's where this one comes in right here. You could sleep 5, 6, 7, 8 depending on how you pack them, rack them, and stack them. And this is the first year we've seen any significant revisions on the Jay Feather Micro Series. Now, they were in really good shape before, but based on a lot of your feedback, they've done some things, and I like it. So first of all, very obviously, completely facelifted inside and out, but it's not just a case of brand new look, same great taste. There's some key changes here that I think you're gonna like the fact that the refrigerator is about 20% bigger now than it used to be. Nobody ever seems to get offended by a bigger fridge, and it's still a fast cooling 12-volt compressor variety. They have gotten rid of, to my understanding, the gas electric two-way refrigerator option, but to help kind of compensate here, what they've done is they've standardized their 200-watt solar package that was previously optional. So you'll find that up there on the roof. Something else you'll find up on the roof is this handy little cargo rack. What I like about those, like if you want to add a bike rack or a kayak mount or something, yeah, you could totally do that. But it also gives you a place to mount extra solar panels if you want without having to screw anything into the roof. And it's those kind of clutch little smart details they're putting into these. Like they're still running on the Goodyear Wrangler tires, so those heavier duty kind of tire package going on this. 7.5 wide body allows for the double over double bunks, which allows for the maximum sleeping space. If I'm gonna be real, this RV has, like, it's got an east-west bed. You may not love it. What do I want to say? The TV viewing on this is not always ideal, but we're going to go through this. I'm going to show you where it shines, maybe where it doesn't. Maybe you're okay with where it doesn't shine. I don't know. And I really love your feedback. Let me know what you think about these as we go and what they did with the 24 revisions. Let's get started. I do feel it's important to kind of mention and remember that, you know, when you're taking a tandem axle 26-foot floor plan and smashing it down into a single axle application that is shorter and lighter, some things start to overlap a little bit, and there are some areas of this layout that are just a little bit janky. And that's not that Jay Feather did a bad job with it, it's just that that's the only space there is. Like, I've seen 6 or 7 different builders make a floor plan like this, and they all have a lot of the same little interesting quirks and things with them. Now, these are 6.5 foot tall all the way across on the interior. They don't do any sort of vaulted ceiling. That will really help in the shower. And here in the biggest room, they've standardized the big XL vent fan, and I'm currently enjoying it because it is hotter than downtown Hades in this thing right now. And that is providing me a nice little breeze rolling through the RV. The bathroom does have a smaller vent fan, but it's a smaller room, so I guess I can see the logic in that, as it were. Now, up front here, you do have yourself that kind of east-west Camp Queen lay-down bed with the Murphy sofa down below. The Murphy sofa itself is centered up, which is nice. Sometimes people look at this and say, well, this is really, really stupid where the TV is located. Remember, it's a small camper. There's only so much space available. But during the day, I kind of feel like the TV is to maybe sort of entertain the little ones over here at the dinette, and the TV can pivot on a swing arm mount. And then at night, when you lay down in bed, the TV faces directly at you. Now, that doesn't necessarily work for everybody. I get it, but that's kind of the best that they were able to accomplish with this one, because there's literally not enough open wall space anywhere else in the RV to try to, do something like mount a dedicated television. That is a 12-volt TV, by the way. And over here on the right, this big old black box, the refrigerator, is 20% bigger than it used to be. They were running 8 cubic foot refrigerators and freezers, the 12-volt variety in these, and they have since standardized the new, well, not new necessarily, but new for them, 10 cubic foot refrigerator freezers. That was something that White Hawk did that Jay Feather did not previously. Something else they've done is they've standardized their decors, and if you look, you can kind of see both previous decors in here. They used to have this thing called Modern Farmhouse, which was white with these little gray kind of accents and then some browns here and there. And then they had Vintage Washed Gray, which was gray with some other gray accents and then some brown in there. And they just decided it was just too much movement, too many different things. And they kind of combined them all here. And overall, I think it looks better personally. I think they did a really good job of kind of homogenizing and combining the two. And overall, I just feel like it looks better. That's just me, though. Charge controller over here, now standard, because that was optional last year. Oh, hello. That's nice little placement for some USB plugs right next to the dinette. That's a pleasant little surprise. And this, of course, is the FBI listening device. I'm joking, of course. If you know what that actually is, leave me a little comment, help the other people out. It's a thing that a lot of people, I see asked in like Facebook forums all the time. They'll point at it with their finger in a blurry photo and go, what is this thing? It's a thermistor. It's a temperature sensor that talks to the Jayco in-command system here. Now, one of the other cool things here, it's not super obvious, but you've got TPMS functionality on these here, which is something a lot of RVs are doing, but a lot still are not. And what do you think about that round circle up top there? That is the tankless on-demand water heater controller. I kind of like where that's located. Like, I never know if that should be like in the kitchen, by the control panel, in the bathroom. It almost feels like you need two of those controllers that talk to each other, but that's going to cost extra money and extra copper wiring that most RV companies are just not going to do. I know I sound super critical, but tell me I'm wrong. You know, change my mind. They haven't revised the kitchen. They have stuck with a 3-burner stovetop and no gas oven option or anything like that. Instead, what you have is maximum storage down below. Although, like you're kind of seeing here, you can always kind of repurpose that into countertop type prep space. The thing is, one of the things this RV really lacks out on and loses on is kitchen countertop prep space. There's a couple ways around it. Like, you see that open slot down below the Murphy sofa. The RV actually includes a 2-foot by 4-foot table. And the dinette table is frankly just right behind you. You might be able to leverage some of that as prep space, but then you're getting into your walking space. So you got to really kind of balance all this out. Now, I've got to kick you over in the world of wide angle lens mode so we can take a look at how this Murphy bed works right here. It is very quick, simple, and easy to use, although it is a bendy bed. And, I had to really figure out the right place to lay on it to make sure that I could fit. But you know what? I think my wife and I could probably make a weekend out of that thing pretty well. And again, that TV, if you're laying down in the bed at night, the TV faces you directly. During the day, it faces the dinette. I think that they did the best they really could here. Now, the dinette is interesting. They changed around their whole table arrangement this year. And it's got this, like, the tabletop dismounts from the base. And it weighs a chunk. It's not going to go floating around on you. Basically, I'll get into that in a little bit later here. There is storage all the way below the U-dinette wherever they could. The part of the U-dinette, like you might notice, there's only a door on one side and not the other. That's because part of the U-dinette actually floats above the wheel well. If you look at the RV from the outside, the slide box actually has a notch in it. That's why there's not a door in storage over there. It really wouldn't have anything to access to. You may notice also what I call the AC/DC TNT Dynamite refrigerator door, which admittedly is a very long name, but it opens either direction, and that's really becoming very, very common and standard through a lot of manufacturers at this point. And this is a newer, updated version where if you try to open the left and the right side at each time, or if you didn't actually get one side that closed and you grab the other, it's not going to fling open and fall on you. I tell you what, if I was a kid up there, I would see if I could reach around that corner and into that refrigerator and try to like grab a popsicle at night. Remember those like little freezy pops that came in those plastic kind of containers, and you'd push the popsicle up in the plastic and it would like cut your mouth because the plastic was sharp? Man, that was good living, right? Something you may have seen but I didn't mention, both sides of the Murphy sofa have household and USB outlets, and you are getting USB Type A and Type C plugs with those. Both bunks have windows that open. Both bunks have their nice little phone charger station with household and USB outlets. And like all Jaycos, you have a 600-pound dual bunk system. So each bunk rated for 600 pounds individually, not 600 pounds total. Now, that is a flip-up cargo bunk. We'll get to see that in action probably when we flip over to road mode. That seems to make sense. And did you see the ladder tree, the swing open ladder tree here, so you don't have to heave-ho, throw the kids into the upper bunk? Well, a lot of people have asked me, oh my gosh, that's so cool. What's the part number? Manufacturers don't give me a list of part numbers, so I do apologize. But basically, if you contact a Jayco store, they can run a VIN off of one of these 199s, and they could get that thing for you. I've been told it's a little bit spendy, surprisingly spendy. I don't know. I've never looked at it. I've never priced it out. But that's, I figure I'll teach you how to fish because pricing on things changes all the time, whether it's parts or RVs or whatever. I love a window in a bathroom. I would never, never have the privacy shade left open, probably myself, but looking at it like this, it always, I like how nice and open it looks. 6.5 foot tall RV, but all the way to the sidewall, plus a big skylight means, yeah, my head's in the bubble, but I was nowhere close to ever feeling like I was going to conk myself unconscious. And that is a radius track kind of shower curtain door combo thing. So elbow room overall, pretty decent. And you got the shelves in the corner for the shower beers. Down here, toilet, also fairly fluffy friendly. And that's kind of the thing here. Being 7.5 wide instead of 7 wide, there's just some awesome, interesting little details that they're able to tweak or change over like that to really kind of maximize the function. Something else that functions very well on this RV is the road mode. Because surprisingly, when you close the slide, you pretty much lose nothing, you know? Which almost begs the question. I don't think I've ever asked this question on this floor plan before. Would you like to see a version of this with no slide out? I'd be, it might feel a little bit condensed in here, but you might save, I don't know, 100, 200 pounds. You might save a couple bucks and still mostly have the same function. But as you see, when you close the slide out, the general feeling in space in here becomes completely different. However, the front bed, you saw that could lay down, the refrigerator, the bunks, the bathroom. This thing gets about an A minus road mode, at least in my book. And I gotta tell you, you're not gonna have to worry about that thing getting bumped and falling over because, like, you could do curls and sets with that thing. Now, as you can tell from the background, we are, like I said, right here on Jayco's campus today. I don't think they're really running production today, though. So you won't tend to hear anybody who maybe lost a fingertip in the belt sander or something like that. Anyway, what are we looking at on this thing? So for towing and going, you saw the weights and the measures there. Generally speaking, pretty much half-ton towable virtually all day long. But considering the maximum top end weight of this, I think a lot of mid-sized tow package pickups are going to find this one a really nice fit. And I think that's where this one really comes in. Like, if you've got that mid-sized pickup, but you've still got a family that you want to take around, but a brand new $80,000 truck isn't necessarily in the budget, that's where one of these kind of comes into play, at least in my mind and my imagination. Now, I've referenced a few times like family aspects of the RV, but considering the fact that you got that cargo bunk, I've seen a lot of people who are just couples or even solo campers get a model like this kind of floor plan for more, individual personal use, and they'll use it as cargo space. Now, that kind of varies. One thing I do want to point out, though, you may have noticed the dry empty weight of this is fairly chunky. These are one of the bulkier single axles. Thankfully, though, they ride on a little bit heavier axle themselves to kind of handle all that weight. And you've got those Goodyear, Goodyear Wrangler tires on these to give you that towing and going peace of mind. Now, they are using double Asdel on these. The entire Jayco Feather and White Hawk lineup has Asdel composite layering on the inside and outside of the laminated wall. So basically a composite wood-free wall with an aluminum structure. The underbelly of this is enclosed, and I tell you what, for a little camper, they do a good job of putting about the best holding tank sizes on they could. And the way that they have this thing set up, there's some pretty decent, ground clearance overall, I think, for things like your sewer outlets. Now, those black tank valves apparently are left wide open currently. They don't normally stick out that much. But notice how you don't actually see the valve. That's all kind of enclosed up in that little belly space. And since outside storage is on a little bit of a premium, they give you the chance to avoid contracting pink eye by putting your stinky slinky sewer hose in a handy little tube holder right there. Now, a lot of single axle RVs that are on a more budget focus, manufacturers will tend not to do things like give them front stabilizer jacks. They'll only give them rear stabilizer jacks just to help keep the RV from popping a wheelie when you step into the thing or stand in the shower. Well, they've given you all four corners, and they're using the newer LCI quick drop stabilizers, and those things are legit. They absolutely live up to the hype. They take so much of that wiggle jiggle out of the RV as people walk around inside the camper. It's fantastic. Now, this is a change from last year also. They've gone to a permanently mounted ladder, so you no longer have to like lug around a loose ladder or like attach it to the back of the RV. I guess there were some concerns, even though you could padlock it. Some folks were really spooked by the fact that somebody could kind of just grab your ladder off the back of the RV, even though you could lock it down. Well, now you just don't got to worry about it. Now it's just there. Now their outside camp kitchen is pretty stellar, but I want to mention real quick, behind that griddle, you see that tankless on-demand water heater. So, you know, if you do have multiple bodies in this thing wanting to take back-to-back showers, you got the capacity to do it here. Now, it doesn't have an actual sink outside. You do see that you have that blue coily sprayer hose right there. But the griddle is standard, the outside fridge is standard, and this little table normally stows and slides right under the sofa, the Murphy sofa on the inside. That is also standard, and that is a really handy thing because remember, you could always leverage that as something like, what do I want to say, like additional counter space. Or obviously you could use it for like a little picnic table outside. Now I have stalled sufficiently because I realized I forgot to open that front baggage door, so I had to slide my way over here and do that. Magnet holdbacks, key-like system also, so you don't need to have one of these big old jingle jangle things of keys on you. You know that you remember when you give your keys to your baby and just kind of keep them occupied for a while. Well, that's what my wife does with me in public, so that I don't get distracted and wander off. And buddy, let me tell you, it works like a charm. And a full pass-through on a little camper like this is a nice find. And you see that black thing hanging off the side marker light right there. One of the cool things about that is these are prepped and ready for a full observation camera suite. So not just a rear camera, but side view as well. Maybe less of an issue on a small camper, but some people like that peace of mind. Some people are afraid a little bit of towing, and I'm not criticizing. I respect it. It's a thing that not everyone's really comfortable doing. So anything that can give you that peace of mind, you know, if you want to go a smaller camper to make it easier, there you go. Now, up top on the roof real quick, you notice the white shroud on the air conditioner, helping the AC run a little more effectively and efficiently. And there's that cargo rack and the now standard 200-watt solar package you get on these. They do still have an expanded solar package, 400 watts, with an inverter that you can option into in these as well. Probably going to be very popular out west if I had to guess. And something else I noticed this year, last year, like, they had the griddle and everything, but you really didn't have a good place to stick it. And I asked my wife, hey, where can I stick this griddle? And the place she told me to stick it, 1 star. I would not recommend. But they redesigned their camp kitchen a little bit to, like, it all stores. The griddle, the mounting plate, the bar, the everything. It all stores right in here. And that is the kind of, like, consideration for an owner, the things that are going to annoy you every day. Like, you know, you have a partner in life who squeezes the toothpaste from the wrong side of the tube. Like, it just sets you off for the dumbest reasons because it's just one more thing you feel like you shouldn't have to deal with. Well, that's one thing you no longer have to deal with. So thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it once again. I'm curious to know what you think about the 24 revisions. Are they going in the right direction, or did they maybe slip in some way or another? And to help you with that decision, money always talks, right? So I'm going to leave you links in the video description where you can check pricing and availability on any of these that we have in stock at any given moment. And short of that, look forward to meeting you. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.